Shouldn't the focus not be on U.S. trade deficits, but rather how long artificial surplus among sovereign nations can go up? Not really, because I don't know. I don't know where you're. I think you're probably going to the whole treasuries and how much demand can be out there and how much dollars can be soaked up by these foreign entities that are trading dollars for goods that they're sending here, hence our trade deficit. Look, what we see in the news right now, Turkey's a good example. It's always swap lines. Whenever you have the global economy on unsound ground, whenever we see cracks in the system, what happens? Oh, dollars, you got to do a dollar swap line to the Swiss National Bank, dollar swap line to Turkey. And I know Turkey, they're getting that dollar swap line through different countries, but it's always dollar swap line, dollar swap. Well, why? Why is that? They don't have enough dollars. You see, and when I say it like that, it just people's head explodes. It was like, what are you talking about? Not enough dollars? What? The Fed's money printer go burr. Or they said, look at the M2 money supply in 2020, 2021. It went up by 25%. What do you mean there's not enough dollars? Are you insane? Oh, no. What I think actually I need to do a better job of using different terminology. So it's not that there's not enough dollars in the United States for the domestic economy. Okay. I would go so far, maybe it's not even that there's not enough dollars globally, but there's not enough dollar cash flow. See, two completely separate things. You can have way too many dollars. The Fed can print trillions, zillions of dollars, quadrillions, but it doesn't mean that you can pay your mortgage if you lose your job, right? If you lose your job, you have no income, you have no dollar cash flow. And when it comes time to pay your mortgage, you're screwed. In other words, you're short dollars. You see, so when Snyder and Brent Johnson and Lynn and Luke and Chris Mack, when all these like super smart macro people talk about short dollars, that's what they're really saying. That these big entities or sometimes countries, although there may be massive amounts of dollars on balance sheets globally, and there may be way too many dollars in the United States relative to goods and services, it doesn't mean that there aren't countries, entities, maybe banks that don't have the dollar cash flow. Therefore, they are short dollars. Therefore, they're going to default. They can't buy things. And because the global economy is so precarious, right? Because it's got so many fundamental flaws, that dollar shortage or dollar cash flow shortage in a world that may have too many dollars is what tips you over the edge. So I think that if you start to think of a dollar shortage in terms of just a dollar cash flow shortage, it will help you understand why you can have a deflationary bust globally or within a country or a country itself as far as not having enough dollars, while at the same time, the Fed is, money printer go burr, something. Now, it gets into a lot more nuance than that, but just whenever you hear that, whenever you're trying to say, how the heck is the US dollar on the DXY going up when, inflation is at 9%? If you're trying to reconcile those two things, always take it back to that example of the Fed printing money, but yet you losing your job and not being able to pay the mortgage. For you, you're short dollars. Even though there's money printer go burr. And just one more example there. Credit Suisse, Signature Bank, Silicon Valley Bank, they were short dollars, weren't they? Even though there might have been a lot of quote unquote liquidity, they didn't have the cash flow they needed and they went belly up. Shouldn't the okay, there you go. Oh, so I went way off on a tangent there. Sorry about that. So my point is, if anything, outside of the United States, there's a dollar shortage. So the fact that there's higher trade deficits and that global entities have a lot more dollars than they otherwise would if the deficit was lower, I don't think that's a problem. I think that's a benefit to the global economy. Now, is that a problem for the United States? Yeah, because we don't produce stuff. And the definition of wealth is not how many currency units you have. It's how much stuff, goods and services, your domestic economy can produce efficiently. That's at least my definition of wealth. And I think if you just use the island example, it makes sense. You can be on a deserted island with a chest full of gold, $1 billion worth of gold, or $1 billion in green pieces of paper. Are you rich or are you poor? Poor, but you got $1 billion. Who cares? There's no stuff. So that's why, it's good for the global economy, but bad for the United States. It just goes right back to Triffin's paradox, which, by the way, we now have a Triffin's paradox not just with the dollar, but with treasuries, where the global economy, because they need more and more collateral, or the global monetary system, they need more and more treasuries. Therefore, the government would have to create these treasuries. But that's bad for the United States, even though it satisfies demand globally, because that means more government spending. The more government spending you have, the more economic distortions you have. So kind of food for thought there. That's something that I've been noodling over for a week or so, that talking about Triffin's paradox in terms of treasuries, not just dollars.